Hello and welcome to the Culture Swally, a podcast dedicated to Scottish news and pop culture. My name is Nicky, and I'm joined as always by the man who I am very much looking forward to going to the best supermarket in all of Glasgow with in July. It's Greg. How are you today, Greg?
All good. All good. I'm sort of on holiday because Ramadan is coming to an end in about 30 minutes here in the Middle East. Eid
Mubarak.
Eid Mubarak. So I've got a few days before I've got to go back to work. All good. So I've just been to the UK, but not to Scotland, but to England, Shire, to see my sisters in Leeds and to see some of my wife's family in the Midlands. So I have a whistle-stop tour, but it was obviously not as nice as being in Scotland.
No.
The north of England is a reasonable substitute for Scotland. Reasonable.
Yeah, sometimes the north of England can be like adopted Scots in a way, and it's picturesque as well.
Yes.
It has some of the nice benefits of the Scottish countryside, so I would agree with you on that. But very nice.
Yeah.
That's very good. Yeah, it's a shame you didn't make it to the homeland, but never mind. It's
only a few months, though.
It's okay.
It's only a few months until, what are we on today? The 9th of April is the day that we're recording. So we've got May, June, July. It's almost exactly 3 months.
Yeah.
It's exactly 3 months until we're in Edinburgh together.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Brilliant. Can't wait. Yeah, really looking forward to it.
Wait for that. It's going to be a good week. It's going to be a good 3 or 4 days.
And we'll get to go to the best supermarket in all of Glasgow. So that's going to be good as well. That's going to be a treat. But yeah. And of course, hopefully we'll get to meet up with Ali, who is partly responsible for what we're recording today. So it all fits in so well.
I would say wholly responsible.
Oh, very good. Everything else good. I have spent, obviously in the last episode we had the Swally Rami, so it was WrestleMania the weekend, so but I was busy all weekend, so I spent yesterday watching basically 12 hours of wrestling. Which is a great way to spend a Monday.
So see when you spend 12 hours watching wrestling and you finally retire for the evening, and you know that little sort of spot when you're not quite awake, but you're not quite asleep, but you sometimes you can be kind of dreaming in that space. What sort of effect does 12 hours of wrestling have on that?
I'm going to be quite honest with you, Greg. I'd had multiple beers whilst I was watching the wrestling, so when I went to bed, I was asleep straight away. So I wasn't gorilla pressing my pillow or anything.
No, I didn't even be doing that, but I mean, I used to find when I worked in restaurants, when I was a waiter, if it had been like a particularly busy, intense shift, if I didn't end up going out after work, and I just went home and then sort of went to bed in fairly short order after getting in, I would be, in my brain would still be like waiting tables. So like I'd be thinking, I'd be sort of just drifting off to sleep, and I would think, I've not taken those appetizers out yet, or those guys are waiting to pay or something like that. Honestly, it was a fucking disaster. It just meant that I had to go out and have quite a lot to drink after every single shift when I was at work to manage that.
No, I can't say anything like that popped into my head or anything, no, when I went to bed. Maybe thoughts of Becky Lynch putting me in a figure of four or something, but no, nothing like that.
Fair enough. Yeah. Do you know, I know I sent it to you. I know you've not had a chance to watch it yet, but I watched a really good documentary, which actually came out in the BBC quite a few years ago, about the kind of heyday of British wrestling. And as I was watching it, and I used to watch the British wrestling when I was a kid. So I remember, so in the sort of early 80s, so I can remember guys like Big Daddy and all them, but it really struck me that there weren't any, or certainly if there was, the documentary didn't focus on any Scottish wrestlers at that time when British wrestling was in its pomp. Can you think of any that spring to mind? I can't think of a single one.
I can't think of any off the top of my head. No, I can't think of any, actually. You're right. Jockey Wilson would have been a good wrestler, but obviously darts was his forte.
So I watched a documentary about him as well. That was on BBC 4 when I was at home, and I think it was narrated by an actor who was supposed to be him, sort of narrating his own life. And that guy's intake when he was playing darts. Like, so but bear in mind, he's playing darts, and like apparently he wouldn't throw a dart unless he'd had like 5 or 6 vodkas and coke. And he was absolutely at the top of his game in those days. You know what I mean? He was smoking something like 60 fags a day, and often like because obviously I guess the heyday of although I think some people might argue that darts in the UK over the last sort of 10 or 15 years has had another kind of flush of popularity, but I think certainly its heyday was in the sort of 70s and 80s when Jockey Wilson and Eric Bristow and guys like that were winners, you know.
Yeah, definitely. And Bullseye was one of the top shows on TV.
I know,
so
exactly.
That's why. The heyday of darts. I'll have to watch that British wrestling, but as I just said to you, I think I might have a little break for a while. Just have although as I say, it might cleanse the palate, so I'll maybe see tonight what I'm going to be watching later on. Okay, well, shall we have a look at what's been happening in Scotland over the last couple of weeks? Since you've been in England, so you probably need to get caught up on Scottish news, don't you?
Definitely do. Cue the jingle.
Hello, this is the Outer Hebrides Broadcasting Corporation, and here is what's been going on in the news.
Okay, Greg, what have you seen in the last couple of weeks in Scotland that has caught your eye?
So my first one is from the 2nd of April, and it came from the Daily Record. The headline reads, "Clumsy Scots husband costs wife £1,000 after a bidding war with himself for a still game painting," which I have to say, it's not very good, to be quite honest. I don't know if it... anyway, it's not for me to say. So this guy's been dubbed Britain's clumsiest husband after he cost his wife another £1,000 after somehow falling into a bidding war against himself for a still game painting. Debbie Stevens, that's the wife, said all she could do was watch in shock his husband Craig bid on the artwork against himself, not realising how an auction worked. Craig kept standing up and shouting out increments of £50, starting with £650. The theatre roared with laughter when he realised all too late that no one else was bidding. Now the pair have given the £1,000 artwork of characters from BBC's still game pride of place on their living room wall. Over the years, Craig has cost Debbie an additional £5,000 with his antics, including melting their fridge and crashing their car while trying to switch the radio station. Debbie, who's a podcaster from Portobello near Edinburgh, said, Greg takes me to the... Greg. Although I do take my wife to the edge sometimes. Craig...
But really?
Only to the edge. Craig takes me to the edge sometimes.
Sorry.
Craig takes me to the edge sometimes, but I wouldn't have it any other way. Besides, the money went to a good cause. He has a mind of his own. It's a funny thing to say about a human being, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sometimes...
Like, I might say that about my dog or something, like he's got a mind of his own, but about a person, you're like, well,
it's the sort of thing you would say about an inanimate object. You know what I mean? Like Oh, honestly, that radio's got a mind of its own. It's always switching over to North Sound or whatever. She says he has a mind of his own. Sometimes he'll listen to me, sometimes he won't. But he's just strong-headed that way, and I just need to accept it. Not really doing much for the feminist movement there, Debbie. Debbie and Craig visited the Festival Theatre in Edinburgh to watch a stage performance of Still Game, which is their favourite comedy, on the 13th of September 2023. They hadn't realised the show would kick off with local artist Rachel Jordan auctioning off her painting of the character. Once someone started the bidding war off at £50, Craig took it upon himself to shout out the highest offer, but he didn't realise he was actually expected to buy the painting afterwards. The starting bid was £50, Debbie added, but he put his hand up for $650. I don't think he was too sure how it worked, because he stuck his hand up again and shouted $850. I shouted back, "What are you doing? You're bidding against yourself. Everyone around us just roared with laughter. In the end, it came to £1,000. The auctioneer sold the painting to Craig for the £1,000 and invited the couple to come backstage and meet the cast. While Debbie says she wasn't very happy with her husband, she was pleased that the money was going to Skills Academy, which is a children's charity. She said, "We got to meet the cast is still game. I wasn't happy with Craig, but I'm glad the money was going to good cause." All of this happened on September the 13th as well. How unlucky. Craig and Debbie decided to hang the painting on the living room wall, but Debbie has to watch him with a feather duster. She said, "I have to watch him like a hawk. It's an oil painting, and he tried to use a can of polish on it. He can use the feather duster on it if I'm supervising." Debbie says the couple are still going strong despite Craig's clumsiness. In the latest series of mishaps, Craig tripped all the lights in the house, brought a crockery cupboard down, and took a wardrobe door off just by opening it. Debbie said, "I told him I wanted a nice new shiny light switch. He tried to change it himself, and every light in the house went off. I asked him to get me a plate from the kitchen cupboard, and the whole thing came down. He also told me the wardrobe door just came off in his hand, and I said, you mustn't be so heavy-handed with these things. I just know something's gone wrong as soon as he wanders off and I hear shouting in the background." We're 30 years married next year. It's a long time to be with someone as clumsy as that, but I wouldn't have it any other way. So, yeah, that's old Craig there, costing his wife quite a lot of money. Have you ever sort of accidentally kind of bid on something, or maybe impulsively bid on something and then sort of kept your fingers crossed that you were going to get outbid because you didn't really want it?
Yeah, I think there's a few times I've probably bid on something on eBay when I've been a bit drunk and thought it's been a good idea. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. That maybe a couple of things that I think I got outbid on. You know what it's like when you get it into your head and then you're looking on eBay and you see something and then you're like, oh, I'll bid on that. And then you kind of regret it. But I can't think of anything.
You've had a few drinks. Seems like a good idea. Yeah. I've done that a few times, but fortunately I've not had to buy anything. I do remember when a mutual friend ran me up on eBay for something I was bidding on, just because I took the piss out of him in our chat group or something like that. I think I'd bid like 150 quid for something and ended up paying 200 for it because he outbid me just to be a cunt.
Yeah, see, that's not a nice thing to do. You know, that was quite harsh. I think since then you've never really shared anything that you've been bidding on since then, just in case.
Especially since he started collecting the same things that I collect, you know.
Yeah.
But I do remember my friend Brendan, who occasionally listens to the pod. Years and years ago, him and I used to quite regularly go to, like, my friend used to organise a fundraiser every Easter because he had some friends at Real Radio, and it was for the CHAS, the Children's Hospice Appeal Scotland, and they always got some really good donations of things to bid on to raise money, usually like football strips and memorabilia. And the DJ Paul Harper, who's a DJ in Glasgow, he used to be on Real Radio. I think he's on Heart now, but his dad's quite a talented artist, and they would always auction off a couple of his dad's paintings and stuff as well. My friend Brendan, after a few drinks, I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was like a football strip in a frame or something like that, and it was going for quite a lot of money. And Brendan, like, for a joke, he kind of half put his hand up, I guess thinking that because we were quite far back from the stage and because he didn't thrust his hand up, the auction guys wouldn't be seen. But one of the spotters at the back of the room took his bid. I'd never seen anybody more relieved to be outbid, because I think it was sitting at something like maybe £4,000 or something it had gone up to. I can't remember what the item was. I'll have to ask him the next time I speak to him. But yeah, he was fucking shitting himself for a good 5 or 6 seconds until somebody decided to outbid him.
Yeah, no, I can't think of anything. I've been at a few auctions where there's been stuff like that. It's exactly as you've said. You know, you usually get like a football shirt signed by Pele, or, you know, a boxing glove signed by Muhammad Ali or something. But I can't think of anything that I've never bid on anything in one of those auctions, because they always go for silly money.
I've never been in the position where I could just part with like £5,000 or £6,000 for something like that. You know what I mean? You know, I've never had that sort of disposable income. I can't imagine because I've got 2 daughters that I need to marry off and everything else. I can't really imagine a time in my life when I ever will have that sort of disposable income. But anyway, so that's Britain's clumsiest husband. What's your first story for this episode?
Sounds very clumsy, doesn't he? There's quite a lot of mishaps.
Sounds like a fucking pain in the arse to me, to be quite honest. But, it's not for me to say.
He's got a mind of his own
after all.
Well, my first story this week, Greg, comes from the Press and Journal from Aberdeen, and this is a story from last week. And the headline reads, Forklift joyrider leads police on 5-mile-an-hour chase around Aberdeen harbour. Daniel Smith's drug-fueled antics sparked what might have been the slowest police pursuit ever seen in the Granite City. So Daniel Smith, 34, crawled under a barrier to enter the restricted site, jumped into a forklift, and took off at very slow speed. Worried staff contacted the police, who turned up with blue lights flashing and sirens blaring and engaged in one of the most sedate police chases ever seen in Aberdeen. CCTV footage was played in court and showed the officers creeping behind the forklift in their vehicle, seemingly unsure how they should bring the situation to a close. Fiscal Deputy Andrew McMahon told Aberdeen Sheriff Court the incident happened around 3:15 p.m. on April the 29th last year. He said, a witness was working at the locus when he observed the accused approach the gatehouse and asked for permission to enter the restricted harbour area. At the time, Smith worked in the area, so was well known to the gatehouse guard. However, the witness suspected that Smith was intoxicated and so refused him entry. Mr. McMahon then said, after being refused entry, the accused was observed to run towards the restricted area and crawl underneath the automatic barrier to enter the site. The witness followed Smith and saw him jumping into a forklift truck. Mr. McMahon said, as a result, others were contacted, and due to his perceived intoxication, matters were reported to the police, who attended. Despite the police presence, the accused did not desist from driving the forklift around the site, causing disruption to the workers there. Eventually, he did stop and was cautioned by officers. However, he refused to comply with a drug test and was also found to be carrying cocaine worth £810. Which is roughly 8.1 grams, apparently. Jesus, prices have gone up, haven't they? Yeah, it's what it says here.
Aberdeen's always been expensive. It's all about oil money.
Has it? Wouldn't know, Greg. Wouldn't know. Smith of Arbroathway, Aberdeen, pled guilty to a charge under the Aviation and Maritime Security Act 1990. It's like charge of being a pirate or something. Of being and remaining in a restricted zone without lawful authority or reasonable excuse and being asked to leave. He also admitted taking and driving away a forklift without consent, failing to cooperate with a drug test, and possession of cocaine. Smith had also faced a number of charges, including dangerous driving and driving whilst unfit. However, not guilty pleas were accepted due to the harbour not being classed as a public space. Defence agent Mike Monroe said that his client, at the time of offences, was employed with an international company and that the incident happened at a site which is part of the whole Aberdeen network. He said, on the Saturday in question, he was going into town. There's no doubt about it. He was under the influence. He's heading to Torry along Market Street and elects to go to the harbour, as you do. The position is, he goes in, and for reasons he can't give me, with no rational explanation as to why, decides to get in a forklift. He's experienced in driving it, though, so he was just driving it round the area. The police then get involved, and there's this, I wouldn't say chase, because it's only 5 miles an hour, but there's this process when he's driving the forklift and the police are driving behind him. This goes on for some time. He added that Smith didn't pay a sum close to the £810 valuation given to the cocaine recovered. That's good, he got a bargain then, obviously. Mr. Monroe said that this case was embarrassing for his client, and he continued, it's pathetic with regard to his behaviour. This is his defence lawyer saying his client's pathetic. Fortunately, if nothing else, he knows how to drive a forklift. Otherwise, anything could have happened. The saving grace for the accused is this did not happen on the public road, but it's still being stupid. The court will not be surprised to learn he no longer works for the company. Solicit advised that Smith now worked as a labourer for a different firm. Sheriff Leslie Johnson told Smith, I have no idea why you decided to act in the way you did, and Mr. Monroe's not really able to offer an explanation either. She fined him £1,425 for taking the forklift without permission and gave him 4 penalty points on his licence. He was found not guilty of other charges. So, you told a story before of you drove a tractor for a while for a summer job, but Yeah, still did it. You didn't get involved in any low-speed chases.
I had permission to drive that tractor, so for 3 days I did, and then that permission was very quickly rescinded. But the question I would have about this, I mean, you're a runner, right? And I know that to join the police, you have to pass a fitness test. I think when they go to, is it like Tillyallen or something in Scotland is where the police training. Yeah, and I know because my friends in Glasgow is a policeman, so like there's athletic exercises that have to be done when they're training. I imagine they've got to keep their fitness to a certain level. Surely one of them could have got out and ran 5 miles an hour to catch up with a forklift. Just,
you would think so. I mean, it sounds like they were tailing him in the car and they didn't have a clue what to do. Like, I guess you can't pull alongside him in case he suddenly swerves, because obviously he's driving a forklift. That's going to fuck up the cop car. But yeah, you would think if an officer's running behind him on foot, it's not like he can suddenly stop the forklift, and turn it around at a quick pace. Yeah. So you would think, they would be able to just run behind him, but I don't know. Don't know why. I'm sure there must be some sort of police procedure that they're not allowed to engage in a high-speed chase with a forklift or something. Very low-speed chase. Do
you think you could outrun a forklift?
Probably. Yeah, if it only goes 5 miles an hour, then I'd imagine I could probably outrun it. But it depends, how long are we outrunning it for? I could probably outrun it for a mile, but then after that, I might be a bit fucked. The whole thought of that is that the forklift will maintain the same speed and doesn't deplete energy, whereas I would.
Out. Have you ever taken anything for a little hurl that you're when it's supposed to, just for a laugh?
Oh, I'm trying to think now. Nothing really. I mean, I did used to absolutely terrorise the golf carts when I played golf every week in Dubai. I would properly tear up the course with them, doing try to do wheelies and stuff. And
jackass.
Doing, not handbrake turns, but like properly trying to skid and stuff and just making an arse of it. There was once I was out with someone and they nearly tipped over the golf cart, which was not fun, but it was managed to get out okay. But I don't think there's anything. I don't think I've taken anything for.
I was trying to think as well, because it does seem like the sort of thing that at one point in our lives, in our relationship with each other, given the opportunity, we would have done. But I can't think of us ever doing it.
Well, we did take you for a hurl in a shopping cage one night, didn't we? The big cages you get at supermarkets that get the deliveries in. We did steal one of those. You got in it and we pushed you down the street and then you fell over and fucked your leg.
I don't think I fell over. I think the cage was pushed over by you clumsy fuckers and I fucked my leg. I think you pushed it into a curb.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, there was, and then another time I remember walking home with a few friends, and we found a shopping trolley, so we took that home with us. We all took turns getting in it and pushing, and then I think I got in it once, and they took the piss, so I never got in it again. But let everyone else get back in it. But no, nothing. I think it was one night I was walking home pissed, I think, and I found I was in Dubai actually, and I found a child scooter, like just a proper little scooter. You just, use your leg on. And I was like, oh, that's handy. So I took that home. As in, I rode it home and then woke up in the morning. Like, the fuck have I got that for? I ended up taking it back where I found it the next day because I felt guilty. But I think that's the only thing, really. Nothing. No, but you're right. It does seem like the kind of thing we would have done.
Very much in the sort of wheelhouse of those early 20s days for you and I and our mutual friend. But I guess, luckily, we just didn't come across anything that we could commandeer, thankfully.
Yeah, I don't think I've got some vague memory, actually, of being in a building site with someone and pished and trying to get into a JCB, actually. Or did I imagine that? I don't know, I've got some vague memory of that, actually. Don't know. But yeah, we never managed it anyway, whatever happened.
Just as well.
Never stolen anything.
Just as well.
Yeah, just as well, yeah. Can't drive a JCB. Anyway, that is our hero in a slow speed pursuit of a forklift truck. What else have you seen this week?
Well, a few episodes ago, we spoke about the now internationally famous disaster that was the Willy Wonka experience in Glasgow. I've got a quick update, but it's actually an update that has really made me feel quite good. So basically, the Willy Wonka experience is set for a shock return, but in America. So we spoke about Kirsty Patterson, who was one of the Oompa Loompas in a sexy costume, and she is she's going to the US to do it. So apparently comedy star, and I'm going to make such a fucking arse of saying his name, Zach Galifianakis, from from The Hangover. Apparently he's said to be involved with plans to recreate the notorious event in downtown LA. Kirsty, 29, who found fame as a miserable Oompa Loompa. Well, I think that's a bit unfair, because actually, and I meant to mention this in the last episode or the episode before, I was watching the end of This Morning one morning, and they were letting kids try all these new bougie Easter eggs because it was coming up for Easter, and they had Kirsty on in her perhaps regrettably sexy Oompa Loompa costume, and she was helping the kids, you know what I mean? She was passing them the eggs and passing them glasses of water so they could spit out the dark chocolate eggs that she didn't like. So Kirsty, who found fame as a miserable Oompa Loompa at the Wonka Carnival, has been signed up for the event on April the 28th. Comedians Nathan Fielder and Galifianakis are in the frame to host the Los Angeles version, in which people are asked to step into a world of pure imagination at Willy's Chocolate Experience Los Angeles as chocolate memes come to life. Organisers have promised US fans a true recreation of the original flop event, saying it will take place at a nondescript warehouse and customers will be given just 2 jelly beans. Tickets are already available. Tickets are already available on the Eventbrite website, priced $44 plus booking fee. Kirsty, who flies out to California next week, told the Daily Record, "I didn't really expect to end up going to the USA or go as big as this, because the USA is on a different level. I've not been to America before. As a trained actor, it's really exciting for me to go over there. I'm doing a lot of meetings and a lot of networking out there. So as a trained actress, it's not an impossibility that I could get a movie to do. When I was a kid, I always said my dream job would be children's television presenter, and now that's a possibility." On the Eventbrite ticket website, customers are advised to get ready to step into a realm of pure imagination as the highly acclaimed Willy's Chocolate Experience LA, that's a dreadful name, makes its debut in the United States. So there's a poster here. It says Willy's Chocolate Experience LA, April 28th, 2024. Meet Kirsty Patterson, the Oompa Loompa from Glasgow with a heart of gold. Yes, this is a real event. We're not kidding. We're giving retribution. They've sort of made a word there, retribution. Music, tiny cinema, comedy, DJs, vendors. You'll laugh, eat candy, dance a little bit. There's a Q&A and a meet and greet with Kirsty, which will be moderated by Nathan Fielder. His name rings a bell, Nathan Fielder, but
that's Nathan Fielder. Yeah. Wow, that's Nathan. Nathan for You.
I'm not familiar.
He's Nathan for You is fantastic. He had a show on HBO recently, The Rehearsal, which I thought was also very good. But he also has been getting acclaim he's in a show with Emma Stone, and I can't remember the name of it now, that was getting a lot of praise. Okay. The Curse.
All right.
That's it. But he's Nathan Fielder's fantastic. Yeah. Wow, that's impressive.
So the ad says, following its groundbreaking success in Glasgow, this fantastical event,
groundbreaking success.
It's very tongue in cheek. On the poster beside every sort of event, there's like exclamations. So where it says meet Kirsty Patterson, there's a little sort of star bubble that says yay, and the one that says yes, this is a real event, there's a little bubble that says wow. Where it describes music, tiny cinema, etc., it says OMG, and where it says Q&A with Kirsty, it says Cool, but it's spelled Kewl, cool, you know, the way that kids do now. So following its groundbreaking success in Glasgow, this fantastical event promises an immersive journey into the whimsical world of Willy Wonka, featuring the notorious Scottish Oompa Loompa, Kirsty Patterson. Scheduled to take place in a nondescript warehouse nestled in the heart of downtown Los Angeles, this extraordinary experience invites attendees to embark on a captivating adventure on April the 28th, 2024. Admission grants access to a plethora of enchanting attractions, including 2 complimentary jelly beans to, quotation marks, kickstart the sweetness. This aims to recreate the original event where kids were promised unlimited sweets, but were given a plastic cup with just a handful of treats. Organisers are also hosting a live Q&A and photo session with Kirsty, who they describe as the mother Oompa Loompa with a heart of gold. Kirsty, who looked glum during the shambolic Glasgow event, which led to police being called, which will never not be funny, said, "I wasn't really in a good place in my life, to be honest, which is why I took the job in Glasgow. So to go from that to going to America, it's like a modern day fairy tale that's happening to me." Organisers claim comics Fielder and Hangover star Galifianakis are said to be lined up to take part in the event. Kirsty said, "I'm a big fan of them both. They're A-listers and I can't wait to meet them." Local music and comedy performances at the early event will come from Tipsy, don't know who that is, Shaky Funk Wizard, don't know who that is, a DJ set by Mabson, will come as no surprise when I say I don't know who that is.
Well, they did that Mbop, didn't
No, that's Manson. No, it's not Manson, that's what they called again? Oh,
Hanson.
Hanson, yeah. This is Mabson.
Manson did Wide Open Space.
Yeah. Plus Clowns of Colour and an immersive tiny cinema...
It's a bit racist, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it depends what colour they are. And an immersive tiny cinema installation screening silent films. The organisers claim Hollywood heartthrob Timothée Chalamet has expressed interest in attending further heightening the excitement surrounding this extraordinary event. If this story hadn't been on the 9th of April, I would just have assumed it was an April Fool's joke. Yeah, so there's a little bit of information about what Galifianakis and everyone is famous for, which we don't need to go into, but I am really, really, really pleased for Kirsty because... When I saw her, obviously there's that picture of her that's been going viral where, understandably, she looks a bit brassed off, as you would expect. She's probably been getting grief from, like, angry parents and stuff all day, probably not getting a lot of support. So I was really, really pleased to see her on this morning with Kat Deely and...
Ben Shepherd.
Was it? Yeah, Ben Shepherd, yep. Or was it Dermot? Maybe it was Dermot that day, actually. I can't remember, but and now to see that she's going to the US to be involved in this, I hope she gets something out of it.
Yeah, me too. I think it's brilliant because obviously this story was everywhere and it was such a joke for a couple of weeks, and it's good that something positive can come out of it, and I do really hope that something works. But I think that she should milk it for all it's worth right now. But try not to get too much milking it, because that way she will end up just always be the Oompa Loompa,
the heart of gold.
She wants to be able to branch out and do, something a bit different. What I'm basically saying is she wants to become like a Rylan, who was known obviously for being on X Factor as a joke, but has since become an amazing presenter and is on everything and is widely regarded as a lovely guy, and less like a Chico.
I forgot about Chico.
Just blasphemy. See, exactly. There you go. So that's what I would say, Kirsty. Be more Rylan, be less Chico.
I mean,
that's a good way to live your life. Actually,
that is sage advice from a man with a life well lived.
I can see some merch coming. Let's get T-shirts printed up. Be more Rylan, less Chico.
Yeah, that's advice from an international jet setter, late of Aberdeen, Dubai, and now Amsterdam, a man of the world.
Exactly, that's my advice. But yeah, this is brilliant. Milk it for all you can right now. That's fantastic. And it's not going away, is it? It's just going to live forever. I mean, I was amazed how quickly Channel 5 churned out that documentary. Did you watch it?
No, I didn't watch it.
It's not worth it, to be honest. It's not great.
Wait, when I saw that it was called, the event that shocked the world, I was thinking, did it shock the world? Really? I know it upset some people in Scotland, but it shocked the world.
It's funny, like these documentaries that Channel 5 pump out. Like when we got that new TV package, I think it was around about Christmas, I did go through a phase of watching Channel 5 most nights because they had like this trail of documentaries about stuff, but it was usually stuff about classic sitcoms or like this type of shows, and it always amazes me, like the talking heads they have on that have obviously just turned up for a paycheck, have no idea what they're talking about, and are just reading something off a script. So like to have like, I don't know, Debbie McGee speaking about Blackadder or something, you kind of like What? Why? What?
Yeah.
You just turned up for the paycheck? Or like Chico speaking about, the only fools and horses.
I mean, what's worse is when they don't get anybody who was involved with the show that you're really interested to hear from. Like, none of those guys are on it, but they get somebody who, like, fucking made the tea on Blackadder the Third or something, or somebody who, who designed Hugh Laurie's shoes or something. And, you're like, well, I respect the talent. Not that interested in what you've got to say, really, to be quite honest. Anyway, that's my first story. So as I reached down to my little sort of Gaza-style fishing pack lunchbox full of beer to get one out, I'm going to ask you, what's your next story of this week?
My next story is from the Scottish Sun, Greg, and it's from today, 9th of April, and the headline is, May the Farce Be With You. A Star Wars fanatic caused a full-scale firearms red alert when he stepped on a train dressed as a stormtrooper. A panicked passenger called police. Why is everyone calling the police nowadays for stuff that they still need to? When they spotted Dan Gillespie's fake blaster, which he claims was holstered. He was quizzed by a guard before the train ground to a halt and headed back to Aberdeen. Dan revealed that he was then met by armed police and was banned from travelling until he got a bag for the toy gun. He claims he's been told never to get on a train in the £1,000 outfit again and is considering quitting cosplay for good after the scare. Dan, 50, said, "Crazy world we live in." The train stopped not long after I got out the station. A guard came up to chat asking about my blaster. Then he asked me to go with him for a chat. Apparently someone reported it to the police. The train went back to Aberdeen. I was met by 2 firearm officers, 3 Police Scotland officers and 2 British Transport Police officers. Dan revealed he was grilled on the train and in the station before he was escorted home by officers. He added, "I had to chat to them all on the train and then in an office. Then they took me home to get a bag for it and then back for another train. I was asked not to wear the Stormtrooper armour on the train." Dan from Aberdeen has been a familiar sight in the city for more than a decade, patrolling the streets as the Grampian Stormtrooper. Sometimes he even wears a kilt as part of the outfit and confessed that he loves putting smiles on people's faces. On Saturday, he was heading to DCon, a comic convention at Dundee University. After the train left, he suddenly became aware that something was wrong. He obviously sensed the disturbance in the force. He said, "I heard sirens from the train along with an announcement, not knowing why we stopped. I did hear the guard's side of call from my seat, so started suspecting maybe it was me. I'm sure passengers on the train were annoyed with me." Dan said he's often out and about wearing his full kit without problems. He added, "The blaster was holstered, so it wasn't even out. 2 weeks ago I was a trooper on the buses with no issue." A spokesman for British Transport Police said, "Officers received reports of a man with a firearm entering Aberdeen station just before 9 a.m. on Saturday. Officers attended along with my colleagues from Police Scotland and it was determined that it was a false alarm. ScotRail confirmed that the train returned to Aberdeen." So, this poor lad has just been... He's dressing up in his cosplay. I mean, let's just say it. We've got a friend that dresses up as a stormtrooper as well, but I don't think he's ever boarded a train with his blaster out. But Dan says that his blaster was holstered. Have you ever got into trouble when you've been out cosplaying or in fancy dress on transport? Because I have.
My blaster out. No, but I mean, I got to agree. I'm not someone who habitually dresses up. Never really have been. I know that you and our mutual friends used to quite enjoy wearing complimentary costumes at Halloween. I'm not going to say what any of them are apart from the Maverick and Goose ones, because some of the other ones might get us cancelled these days. But
Posh and Beck's was
that
fine.
was okay. Yeah, okay. Anyway,
the other one not so much. No.
But yeah, no, I mean, like, I'm not someone who dresses up habitually, but I have to agree with Dan. I mean, that sounds like that's been somebody, like, just out of badness. Like, if I saw somebody who was clearly, even if it was like some sort of soldier costume that I didn't recognise, that was a bit sort of science fiction-y, and he had some sort of, like, clearly pretend fucking gun in its holster or otherwise, I wouldn't be like immediately dialing 999 to stick him in. So it just feels to me like someone's done that just out of badness. Or it's just some tightly wound fucking ne'er-do-well, you know what I mean? Just one of these people that just, you know...
I don't know. I mean, there's a photo of Dan with his blaster, and there's no way that you could think it was a proper firearm, really. Like, especially since he's wearing a full Stormtrooper outfit. Yeah. Like, I don't know, it's maybe, who knows, maybe it's someone that's panicked, or they thought he's some sort of terrorist, or, I don't know, maybe it was someone, you know, from the rebels that thought that something was amiss. Maybe it was an Ewok that...
Perhaps.
Phone the police. Like, you never know. So, don't know. But yeah, poor Dan.
Yeah, I feel genuinely sorry for him. I mean, the police, when they turned up, should have immediately realised that the guy is in fancy dress and the blaster is part of his costume. I mean, you got to ask the police, how much time would that have taken for them to go through all that Dan described, fucking take him home, bring him back to the trains? I mean, fuck's sake. I mean, somebody could be like driving wild in a forklift. So, you know what I mean? The police are taking up, wasting their time with poor old Dan.
That's what I don't understand. I don't get from this, the fact they've taken him home and then taken him back to the train station. If the issue is that the gun has to be in a bag, then, you know, it's Aberdeen train station. Right, you go to WH Smith's and just get a carrier bag, put the gun in the bag, and do us a favour, just don't wear your helmet, like, on the train. The rest of the armour's fine.
Yeah.
It's up to you. Just don't wear your helmet, keep the gun in the bag, you'll be fine. Yeah. But to take him home and then obviously have to get a bag from home, why? It's WH Smith's, or there's bloody...
fucking shopping centre. Get a bag,
shopping centre.
Bag for life from Sainsbury's or something like that and stick it in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know why. You're right, there could have been guys roaming around in forklifts. So it does seem a bit ridiculous, but never mind.
Well,
so
Stan says it's a crazy world.
It's a crazy world, and he was fine on the buses a couple of weeks ago.
Obviously, the buses are more tolerant than the British Transport Police.
Yeah, Olive loves a Stormtrooper, so she'd have been fine. That's a very niche reference there. I couldn't remember the other. It's Reg Varney.
Reg Varney. I can't remember the other guy's name, and obviously Blakey, the conductor.
Oh, Blakey! I'll get you, Butler.
It's a very deep cut that's only for men of a certain age. I can imagine that Ali will probably be slapping his thigh at that one, and perhaps Andy as well. Henry won't have a fucking clue what we're talking about.
Yeah. I'll be amazed if he does. I'll be delighted if he does, actually. Anyway, have you seen anything else this week, Greg?
A very quick one. So obviously last week, or last episode, should I say, we had the Swally Rami where Joe Broon faced off with Ur Willie's Da, and it's just chaos and carnage in the ring and outside. So it made me want to draw attention to this one from the 7th of April. So tomorrow there is an auction. Where is the auction? McTears, and it's a pop culture auction of annuals and toys and stuff. It starts on Wednesday, which is too late for our listeners, so I can only apologise. But the very first Ur Willie annual from 1941. Oh no, it's still too late. The very first Ur Willie annual from 1941, a really nice looking copy, which in the picture, some guy who works at the auction is sitting in a bucket reading it, and he's touching it with his bare hands. Oh, I mean, come on, what the fuck? Anyway, it's expected to go for thousands of pounds when it goes on sale next week. Apparently, I thought it would go for more than this, but they expect it to sell for between £2,000 and £3,000. I thought I might go for it more than that.
Yeah, I thought it'd be a lot more than that.
It's hoped the full collection, which was amassed over a lifetime by the late Falkirk football programme collector Frank Hewlett, will rake in between £10,000 and £15,000. The collection details the evolution of both Ur Willie and the Broons through the decades. So it sounds like a nice collection going up for sale there.
Yeah, I thought it would have gone for more than that, because obviously quite a rare item and a beloved item as well. But again, I guess it's quite a niche audience that's going to be going for that.
Yeah, I could sort of see the pence dwindling every second. I kept looking at the picture of the auction guy holding it with his bare hands. Destructive oils all over the 80-year-old cover.
Shocking.
Any more news from yourself?
No, that's it from my side, Greg. Is that it from you?
That's it for news, but I've got a proposal that I want to put forward, and I'm interested in your input, Greg.
Yeah. Yes, Greg, I will marry you.
So today I was driving in Dubai and I drove past a sign for Dubai Parks and Resorts, which is like a sort of theme park just sort of south of Dubai. And they recently closed the Bollywood land down, which surprised me because I thought that was the most popular part of the park because Dubai has got a big Indian population. But they've opened Real Madrid World.
Oh my God. Okay.
So on the posters, there's no details of any sort of attractions, but there's lots of pictures of like Indian kids sort of running, faces full of joy in Real Madrid merch, supposedly at a theme park. And it got me thinking, what would a Swally land involve? So if we were to open our own theme park. So I've got like a proposal, right? So I imagine that it would probably be maybe somewhere in the Central Belt, maybe Fife or Cooper or somewhere like that. Just because I imagine it probably get the land quite cheaply there. As a side hustle, the director of operations has to be Cosmo as a side hustle.
Yeah.
Assisted by Matt Costello, of course. He's always there.
Of course.
I think the food and beverage director is going to be Tom Urey, but the only food and beverage available was full Scottish breakfasts, pie suppers, iron brew, watered down overpriced tenants, and tartan special. Obviously, the theme park will be a cash only enterprise, so no credit cards.
Of course. That's what the tax man doesn't know about.
Cosmo stipulate that the admission fee for young guys between the ages of 14 and 25 is £100 due to the Compston Christmas party debacle that it's not quite got over. And anybody who's ever had anything to do with a Cosmo film gets in for free, as long as Cosmo liked you. You know what I mean? Just don't piss him off.
Guthrie's not allowed in.
Guthrie's lifetime ban. There's pictures of him all over the park in case he manages to sneak in disguise or something. So like,
it's at the ghost train.
Yeah. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4. I got 5 attractions, right? So I've got the waltzers first of all, who I would imagine will be run by David Heyman and Martin Compston. Compston is working off the repairs to Cosmo's bathroom door. Heyman always makes sure he's got a few warm cans of Kestrel in the booth, so just to make sure that he's always a wee bit pissed, always jumping on the back of the waltzers that are just full of girls and spinning them round. He's on a final warning from Cosmo for throwing up on a customer's hand who was trying to give him his change. And Compston's just a fucking nervous wreck working with Heyman on the waltzers. The Dodgems are run by Stephen Purden, otherwise known as Shell Suit Bob.
Yeah, but I call him Sideshow Bob.
He's still on the same salary that the BBC put him on when he joined River City in 2003, and he hates being there, but he owes Cosmo a £500 loan that he borrowed 15 years ago. Cosmo's only paying him the interest on the loan per shift, which is 40% of the loan, and it's added back on every week. So he's tied to Cosmo forever. We've got an old-fashioned boxing ring where people are invited to go and see if they can last 3 rounds with Jake McQuillan to win £100. McQuillan's got a roll of shillings in his right boxing glove, and the medical tent charges £100 to reset your jaw or your nose. So even if you win, you're probably going to end up part with the money again.
It's Maggie Brune, the nurse, that will help reset your jaw.
Daphne Brune's a nurse because she's got the power in her forearms. Maggie could never reset a nose with those wee skinny arms.
No.
So true. The Ghost Train, that's ran by Florence Pugh when she's not making films, in her malevolent costume. So obviously it's the most popular ride by far.
Yeah.
£200 a go. And all the ride is Karen Dunbar wearing a Savile-style suede tracksuit and pulling faces under an orange light bulb. But it's fucking really genuinely frightening. The Tunnel of Love is run by Dee Wallace of Gregory's Girl. Oh. But the tunnel is basically just like 10 stalls under a red light bulb where you can take your boyfriend or your girlfriend for a knee tremble. £30 for 10 minutes and then you're turfed out. If you want to buy a rubber, it's a tenner for one.
Do you mean in a razor?
No, I mean a condom. If you're single, then one of Dee's dolls will wank you off for 25 quid as long as you shoot your load in 5 minutes. Rory McCann works the door and has been instructed to, quotation marks, panel fuck out of anybody who takes the piss by Cosmo or runs over their 5 minute. The beer tent was being run by Mel Gibson, who Cosmo was given a dig out when his film career was fucked, but he was upsetting all the Rangers fans with his rampant Catholicism, so Cosmo had to sack him. his militant Catholicism, so Cosmo had to give him his jotters, so Costello's currently holding it down. So I was thinking, what other rides could we add to the Swally land, and who do you think would be the ride masters?
The ride masters. Okay, so what else would we normally have at a theme park? You'd have to have like the Iron Brew log flume.
Yep.
So like a nice little log fume. Why gotta say flume? Who would be running that?
You could have Pinball off of Sweet 16 running that because of his orange hair.
Just because he's ginger. We'll go with that. I was thinking Gavin Mitchell because it's drinks related, but we'll go with Pinball from Sweet 16 as that. You need a Helter Skelter as well, don't you?
Yeah. You'd be in charge of the Helter Skelter.
I don't know. Brian Pettifer, just because it'd be funny.
Pettifer handing out the sacks for the Helter Skelter.
It's just handing out the sacks for that. We don't have a roller coaster yet, do we?
No, we don't have a roller coaster. I wasn't sure if we would be able to get the sponsorship to build a roller coaster. I mean, we could maybe get the roller coaster maybe sponsored by, I don't know, Kestrel Lager or Buckfast, the Bucky Banjo. Something like that.
I think Dave Anderson would probably be in charge of the roller coaster. Yeah. Although will Cosmo want him allowed because he's still banned for fucking over his gnomes. But then maybe that's he's paying off his debts.
Probably he is. Again. Yeah, maybe he is. Yeah. It's turning into a bit of a Cosmo's debtor's prison. It's like anybody who owes him money is just getting put to work.
Obviously, any good theme park has to have like games. So you would have the games where you had to like hook a duck or get a
goldfish.
Yeah, or throw a ball into a clown's mouth type thing, and you'd win a goldfish. So it's find the shite in the Iceland freezer, and it's just a row of chest freezers. And you're blindfolded, you get one pick, you open the freezer, and if the box you pick out's got shite on it, you win a goldfish. If it doesn't, no luck. Try again.
Maybe
that's a callback.
That's a real callback. If you all know what we're talking about, you need to go way back.
It's like, was it like episode 3 or 4 or something, I think.
Something like that.
We covered that story.
Maybe they throw the ball in the clown's mouth is Guthrie's way in. Maybe that's how he manages to sneak in.
I'm leaving that. I'm not touching that. No, not touching that. Unlike Guthrie. What else do you have? We had Dodgems, did we? We have Dodgems?
Yeah.
Got Dodgems. Oh yeah, of course, yes. We've got the Ghost Train, got a roller coaster. What else? There's always a good, little arcade bit as well, where you'll have like a Wrestle Fest and Time Crisis and grabber machines and stuff. Guthrie would be good at the grabber machines.
Maybe got Barbara Rafferty in there, like kind of breaking £5 notes into coins for the kids to for the penny falls and all that.
Yeah, I think that'd be ideal for Rafferty. She can just sit behind the glass case and just
smoking fag,
hand out the money.
Smoking fags.
Obviously, she'll need someone to help her out because sometimes the machines go wrong, so somebody needs to give it a knock and stuff. Yeah. So I guess you would probably have, I don't know, Stephen McCall
there.
Oh, he'd probably
McCall there, making sure nobody's like trying to like give the penny falls a kick and make the coins drop.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah. I think he would manage that well. I'm struggling to think of any other attractions that you would have. I mean, it's Swally centric, so would there be like obviously in Cadonas and Aberdeen that we used to have Rambo Land, which was great. So would it be like Bamland or something, or
Reef,
Jake McCullen Land,
Reef
or Begbie Land,
Reef 1980s Land?
Yeah. So yeah, Begbie Land. Where and it's just a big picture of Begbie, and when your kids go in, you get a Pringle jumper and a pair of loafers, and you have to avoid, you have to throw a pint glass over your head and see if you can land it in someone's face, and avoid the chip.
Yeah. You get given like a sort of foam pool cue, and also the kids can all batter each other with them, sort of gladiator style. Maybe there's like a sort of avoid the potentially HIV or hepatitis tinged needle attraction the kids have got sort of tiptoe through.
There's a big dummy at Begbie there as well, and it's, because we'll include T2 in this as well. It's stick the knitting needle in the kidney. So you have to try and get him in the kidney, and it's like operation. And if you get it right, then the buzzer goes off and you win a prize. But of course, you'll never get it right because it's rigged.
Yeah, of course.
So.
Yeah. There's Batter the tourist attraction, or just anybody in a ski jacket gets claimed.
Who's running the concession stand as well? Because obviously there's going to have to be hot dogs and burgers and stuff.
The only F&B are full Scottish breakfasts and mutton pies with Iron Brew and
with Tom Ury. Sorry.
Tom Ury's, but
you think
all of that. Tom Ury,
maybe like Bob Servant would have a burger van parked outside across the road to try and get some business.
Sell some computer burgers. Yeah. I think we've got a proposal for Fife Council here.
I think we do. Let's look it up, see if we can get a small business loan and set up Swallyland.
I just got a vision of like Cosmo collecting all the money when it's shut at the end of the night and leaving with a big sack with a £1 note on it over his shoulder every night. Not a £1 note with the pound sign on it, like a big sort of cartoon bag. Cheesecloth bag for the like 10s, 20s and pound coins.
Just heading back to Mrs. Cosmo, because obviously she's going to count the money. Once you get
she'll count the money, and then they'll both take it down to the Clydesdale the next day to put it in the bank.
Yeah, exactly. Of course. Well, I mean, these Christmas and Hogmanay parties don't pay for themselves, do they?
Especially when you've got roasters fucking breaking your gnomes and your bathroom door and all that kind of thing.
Fucking arseholes. Never mind. A brilliant proposal, Greg. Absolutely brilliant proposal. Love it. Right. Okay. Right. Before we go on to what we're going to be talking about today, let's have a little word from our sponsors. And our sponsor is, of course, Doric Skateboards, a skateboard brand created by Gary Kemp, whose main focus is to explore the people and the culture of Aberdeen and the northeast of Scotland, and to create designs that reflect life in that area. Doric Skateboards screen print their own decks in their studio by Gary's fair hand, and they have produced some amazing designs over the years, including an Annie Lennox-inspired board, a Robert the Bruce deck, and a Plenty of Pop deck inspired by the old Bonaccord trucks that used to drive around Aberdeen delivering fizzy drinks. Doric Skateboards also replicate these amazing designs onto clothing on 100% organic cotton tees, hoodies, sweatshirts, and you can also fill your boots on stickers, pin badges, beanies, and caps. Gary regularly collaborates with local artists to ensure that he brings the latest designs to the market, but always with a Doric twist, including the Ballater Toy Shop design, inspired by Scotland the What, which we actually need to cover quite soon, Greg. So check out Doric Skateboards for yourself on doricskateboards.com, and you can follow them on Instagram at Doric Skateboards to see all the amazing designs on offer. And we are delighted to be able to offer you 15% off as listeners to this podcast. All you need to do is head to doricskateboards.com, have a look at all the amazing decks, stickers, badges, hoodies and tees on offer, and enter the promo code SWALLY. That's SWALLY, same as the name of this podcast, and get your 15% off. That's doricskateboards.com, link in the description of this episode. Okay, Greg, so it was your choice on the Swally this week, so why don't you tell us what we're going to be talking about today?
So as already alluded to, like a year and a half ago nearly, we were very, very lucky to be invited along to the Scottish podcast collaboration, which was sort of November, December 2022, where we met some of our fellow Scottish podcasters, one of whom was the lovely, lovely man that is Ali, who is the host of the Scots We Hey podcast, and he gave us, very graciously invited us on to the show for a bit of a blether one night, and he very equally generously gave us some suggestions suggestions for things that we could maybe cover in the podcast, because we do have a bit of an unspoken sort of anxiety that eventually we'll just run out of Scottish things to cover.
Dude, we'll never run out of stuff. We've still got like 8 seasons of Ramsey Nesbitt to cover,
yeah.
for example.
That's true.
Keep us going for 4 months.
So one of the films that Ali suggested was the 2005 Jet Li movie, which may come as a surprise to some of our international listeners. Unleashed, or if you're in Europe, it was called Danny the Dog. So it was released in 2005, directed by Louis Leterrier, who you may know as the director of the last Fast and the Furious film, The Incredible Hulk, one of the Clash of the Titans, quite a prolific French director. Produced by Luc Besson, the director of Leon, amongst a lot of other films, and starring international martial arts superstar Jet Li, Morgan Freeman making his Swally debut, and perhaps probably his only Swally appearance, Bob Hoskins, again, making his Swally debut and probably his only ever appearance in the podcast, and Irish actress Kerry Condon. Unleashed tells the story of Danny, a hard as a coffin nail young Chinese man played by Jet Li, who works as a brainwashed bodyguard for nasty loan shark Bart, played by the lovely Bob Hoskins. Bart unleashes Danny on his late-paying customers by removing his collar. One day, Danny meets a blind piano tuner called Sam, played by Morgan Freeman, who, with his musician stepdaughter Victoria, through a series of highly, highly unlikely events, which Nikki and I are about to discuss in great detail, reawaken Danny's memories through the magic of classical music. So, I remember when this was released, because the reason that we're doing this film on the Culture Swally is because it's almost entirely filmed in Glasgow, but it's also, and if it wasn't for one or two things that Morgan Freeman says, and if you're not familiar with the city, you'd probably never know that it was filmed in Glasgow. I remember when they were filming it, so I was living in Glasgow at the time, and I also remember when it was released, and it was obviously big local news, certainly in Glasgow, but in Scotland as well. So I'd only ever seen it once. You hadn't seen it before, I don't think, right?
No, I'd never seen it. I was aware of its existence, and I knew the film existed. I couldn't think of another word there to say for it. It's great for podcasting. But I was aware that the film existed, but no, I'd never seen it.
Yeah. So what were your initial thoughts when the credits rolled on Unleashed then, after watching it?
You know something? I actually really enjoyed this film. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous, but it's fun. And I was expecting maybe a bit more in terms of violence, because it's not a typical Jet Li film, really. Like, I would say the first, maybe 20 minutes, there's quite a few fights, and then there's like 40 minutes of just him and Sam and Victoria, and then the last like 20 minutes is all violence. So it was quite good in terms of the way it was paced, and I was quite invested in the story as well. It's interesting. It's Jet Li, it's Morgan Freeman, it's Bob Hoskins. You know, it was entertaining, and it was a good story. And there were a couple of points where, because I'd never seen it, genuinely I didn't know what was going to happen next.
Yeah.
There was one scene in particular that we'll talk about later that, you know, I was quite tense and really like, oh my God, what's going to happen here? Yeah, I was quite invested in it, and I was quite surprised. I think this was I did watch an interview with Jet Li about this, in terms of he said that because obviously he was, he's on very good terms with the director and Luc Besson as well. You know, they'd done quite a few films together, and he had said he was looking for something a bit different in terms of he wanted to kind of show off his acting chops. And I think he does a pretty good job here as well. Like, he's really good, but I do have some problems with the film, obviously. Like, there's quite a few problems.
Only some?
Yeah, okay, I've got quite a few problems with the film. My list is mostly problems that I have with the film. Why Glasgow? And it's, as you say, apart from when they're in the Spar, the best supermarket in all of Glasgow, obviously there's a scene where they're sniffing the melon, and behind them is a pile of Scots porridge oats, which it's kind of the second indication that it's in Glasgow, because that just 30 seconds previously, Morgan Freeman had said this is the best supermarket in all of Glasgow. Then obviously later when the guys come in and fight in the supermarket, they knock over a case of Tennants and stuff. And then you have Jet Li trying on the See You Jimmy hat later on. And that's pretty much it. But do you know the reason it's set in Glasgow?
I imagine because the Scottish government, the Glasgow City Council gave them a good rate to film there.
Partly. However, the film was written specifically for 3 actors.
Right.
It was written for Jet Li, right. It was written for Morgan Freeman, and it was written for someone else. Bob Hoskins wasn't meant to be in this film. Someone else was in this film and pulled out at the last minute.
Brian Cox.
Billy Connolly.
Oh, really?
Billy Connolly was meant to be Bart, and he was cast as Bart and agreed to do it. And I should have looked up what he was doing around about this time, but it was a scheduling conflict,
right.
And he had to pull out.
Right.
But they'd already filmed the scene in the Spar. So they had to keep it set in Glasgow because they'd already filmed it. So yeah, Billy Connolly was meant to be Bart, and it was written specifically for him. But then Hoskins stepped in to do it. And to be fair, Hoskins is great, but this would have been such a fucking different film with Billy Connolly as Bart. It would have been incredible.
Yeah, really good. But that's the thing. The big question, as you've alluded to already, and I mentioned in my introduction, it's filmed and set in Glasgow. There's no doubt about that at all.
Oh, yeah.
We don't hear a single Scottish accent. The only Scottish actor is I
know what you're going to say.
A very brief appearance by Emma Thompson's ma for Lydia Law, who and she's doing an English accent.
I know. I was like, why are you doing an English accent? I don't understand this. Why is it set in Glasgow? I've read a few online reviews and I listened to like another podcast reviewing this as well. And they were like, I can't believe it was set in Glasgow. Like I thought it was London because it's all East End gangsters. I mean, it's Bob Hoskins. It's fucking Tamar Hassan. Yeah. Like it's
like everybody, all the characters are either English or American. Like every single one.
Like even the woman working in the Spar is English. Like you couldn't get, and you know the worst thing, that's her only acting credit. You couldn't employ a Scottish actress to work behind. You couldn't get like Karen Dunbar or something to work behind the counter in the Spar for 3 lines. It's the woman in the Spar's only acting credit. I presume she probably worked in the Spar already, and that's why she was given the job.
If you look at her IMDb, she's had a headshot done.
Yeah.
Hello, love.
Oh, good morning, Maddie. Maddie runs the best supermarket in all of Glasgow. Maddie, this is Danny.
Hello, Danny.
He's a little shy.
Oh, I like my men to be shy. Presents a challenge for a girl.
I'm just going to give him some of the finer points of shopping.
Couldn't have a better teacher.
She must have thought that this was the beginning of maybe a burgeoning career playing shop assistants or similar characters. Yeah, but there's loads of other little sort of points toward Glasgow as well. Like when we see the contents of Bart's grot drawer with all these dirty pictures, there's a copy of the Evening Times lying on top of them.
I did, you're right. And I did notice when Sam is playing the piano, in that first scene where you meet Sam and Danny is there is a copy of a Glasgow Yellow Pages behind them. And then to be fair, the Botanic Gardens does have like a kind of big part as well.
Well, the Botanic Gardens, Glasgow School of Art, the Kelvin Grove Art Gallery. There's loads of there's the Barrowlands as well. They near the beginning when they're in the car and buy that really nice white car that Bart drives. That's not a Mercedes. It's like an old British car. He gets a Mercedes later, I think. And they drive past this.
Is it a Jaguar?
There's a Jag. Yeah. Might be a Jag. They drive past the Barrowlands and they're driving through the East End of Glasgow and stuff. And the thing is, even at the sort of ripe old age of sort of 45, nearly 46, there's still something that really makes my heart soar when I see somewhere that I'm really familiar with in a film or in a TV show or something like that. Like my wife is from Coventry, and her and I have been watching the new Stephen Knight show on BBC called Listown that's set in Coventry in the late 70s, and it's all around like the sort of supposed to be in sort of like the time of like two-tone and specials and stuff. And it's filmed on location in Coventry, and she knows the city really well. And I was watching it the other night, and she was sort of half watching it. But there was like there's like tons of places that she knew really well. And I think for her, that might be the first time for her that she's ever seen like a sort of drama that's set and shot on location in a place that she is very intimate with. And she got a fucking real kick out of it. And I totally understand why, because I always get a kick out of it. Like seeing seeing the neon lights of the Barrowlands reflected on Bob Hoskins' face as he's a passenger in his car. I mean, that's just a fucking magic moment for me. It really is.
No, it is lovely when you see places that you know and you're able to identify. Like I remember the last season of Ted Lasso. There was an episode set in Amsterdam.
Oh, of course.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Like watching it and going like, oh my God, it's there. Oh my God, that's there. Oh my God. Like, oh, I know that bar. It's wonderful. Seeing stuff like that. So that's why it's kind of set in Glasgow.
Yeah.
And okay, we can get past that. So of course, Bob Hoskins is Bart. We don't know until later on how he's rescued Danny, but as you said in the intro, he effectively uses him as an attack dog and keeps him in a cell, like a cage, wears a collar. So that's why I guess Danny the dog comes from. And at one point, one of the guys does say, so you've essentially turned a man into a dog.
You know what I've always found fascinating about this whole situation of yours, Bart, buddy? How you basically turned a man into a dog.
Well, that's like my sainted mum used to say. Get 'em young enough, and the possibilities are endless.
Now, we'll come on to, obviously, later in terms of how he got Danny, but, I mean, one of the problems I had about this film is, like, is this film massively racist? Like, little Chinaman knows Kung Fu, but doesn't know how to use a spoon.
Yeah.
And okay, I guess maybe he never learned how to use a spoon because we see, I thought that was quite well done in some ways. We see him at the beginning after the first kind of loan collection. They go back to Bart's warehouse and he's eating spaghetti out of a tin. Yeah. That's another thing. Why, obviously, Heinz didn't sign off on it because it's obviously Heinz spaghetti, but it doesn't say Heinz on the label. But yet, Scott's porridge oats and Tennant's were fine with signing off, but they couldn't get clearance.
Spar's own brand tin spaghetti, perhaps.
Yeah. And he's eating it with his fingers, but then, so when it comes to later on, when Victoria and Sam take him in and they make him leek and potato soup. I've never seen green leek and potato soup before.
I know.
Like, he must have put I don't know.
Who wants leek and potato soup as, like, their main fucking meal? You know what I mean?
I like a leek and potato soup.
Yeah, but you'd have it for your lunch.
In a winter's evening.
Yeah, but would you have it for your dinner?
No. Yeah, I would, yeah. Like, often in the winter, I'll have soup for dinner.
Really?
Just a nice big, bowl of soup,
Fair enough.
Especially leek and potato. It's filling, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I have like 4 slices of bread with it. Or
I was going to say, exactly.
I'll still have it. But you know what I mean? Like, it kind of, and they're almost kind of laughing at him. Like, oh, he doesn't know how to eat soup, because he's using the bread to kind of, as a spoon, and then he's drinking it out the bowl. But is it a little bit... like I say,
I didn't get
simple Chinaman. I know kung fu, but I don't know how to use spoon.
I didn't get that. I didn't get any racist sort of connotations there. I guess we're supposed to feel that, because of the way that he's been sort of kept and treated for all these years, he's never learned like how to use cutlery, or he's nervous around other people and he doesn't know how to. He thinks that the removal of his sort of dog collar means that he has to unleash, like brutal violence. I think where the script is kind of weak, I think, and it's worth saying actually that the famous late and highly respected film critic Roger Ebert said that he felt this was Jet Li's best English speaking film.
Okay,
I don't know what he'd sort of done previously. I get Lethal Weapon 4. Which I think is fucking brilliant. I think it's brilliant in 2004.
This was after Romeo Must Die, wasn't it?
Yeah. And after Lethal Weapon 4. I think Romeo Must Die is a great film, but Lethal Weapon 4 is fucking brilliant. But, there's a lot of just, when we find out, that Danny's mum was a Chinese piano player who was in Glasgow, although the reasons why she was in Glasgow I don't think were that clear, who is then murdered. But like Danny looks to be maybe like 4 or 5 if we're being generous. So so where has he learned all this amazing martial arts from if he's been essentially kept as a kind of slave, really, all his whole life up until we meet him in the film. You know, like, who's taught him how to be a fucking hard as fuck martial artist? You know what I mean?
Well, that's the thing, because, like, I mean, towards the end, well, obviously, spoiler alert for the end, but, you know, Bart kills his mum, and he kind of comes out the cupboard and rushes at him. So you kind of get the impression he does know a little bit of kung fu.
Yeah.
Or
but he just sort of runs.
He knows how to fight. But he kind of runs, but he does kind of like a punch.
Yeah.
But he just gets swatted away.
Yeah.
And I think that's maybe why Bart takes him, because he's like, oh, I can tell you can fight. But you're right. Who taught him that? We never saw that. Why would you teach him? Why would you teach him how to use kung fu? Teach him how to use kung fu, but just kung fu. Unless it was some sort of matrix, like, oh, I know kung fu.
Yeah.
Or why would you spend all that time? Because, like, again, I have a problem with the collar. Like, because it's just a collar. Why does that subdue him? And I know it's mental training, and he's probably undergone like a lot of physical torture and psychological trauma, and that's why the collar is almost like a
symbolic,
a safety net type thing.
Yeah, symbolic.
But why would you go all that trouble to teach him about the collar? Why would you go to all the trouble of teaching him kung fu and not teach him how to use a fucking spoon? I've got a real issue with the spoon.
Yeah,
a real issue.
Evidently.
Well, there'll be no spoons in Swallyland. No spoons. You know, just give him a spork or something, for fuck's sake. He'll be fine. But yeah, I've got an issue with that. But yeah, who taught him how to fight like that? Because it wasn't Bart, and it wasn't Tamer Hassan or any of the other goons, because they're useless.
Yeah, and I was a little bit... I mean, this was the beginning of a real sort of purple patch, really, for Tamer Hassan, because, like, I think a year after, or maybe like a year... But at the same time, or just at the same time, he had the Football Factory, which he's really good in, and then he's in The Business. You know, he goes on a bit of a journey with Nick Park, the director.
Love.
Yeah, Nick Park's the Wallace and Gromit guy.
Nick Park. Yeah.
I'd love to see Nick Park's Football Factory.
Football Factory was 2004, so it was around about. So this would have been just after. But you're right, he did Football Factory, then Layer Cake,
of course,
then Unleashed, and then he's in Batman Begins, and then The Business, and then it all kind of falls off. 2 episodes of Casualty, EastEnders, Goal 3. Yeah, it's kind of goes to shit. I
always liked him as an actor. I know he tended to get kind of pigeonholed doing the same types of roles and things, but he's got a good presence about him, and he's good in this, because his character in this one is sort of he's got some empathy for Danny, you know, in the way that the other guy, Lefty, is just a fucking prick to him, you know what I mean? And then obviously he's dispatched when their car's rammed by the bin lorry, and Danny's able to make his escape and find Sam and later on Victoria. But the other actor for me that when I saw he was in this, who I've always been a big fan of, is Bob Hoskins, because I don't know about you, but I'm pretty sure the first thing I ever saw Hoskins in was Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and I remember being really surprised. I mean, that came out when I was about maybe 10 or 11. I remember being really surprised when I found out that he wasn't American. So I hadn't seen him, and everything else that he'd done before that probably wouldn't have come my way. Like The Long Good Friday, obviously. I wouldn't have been able to watch that, where he stabs Charlie from Casualty to death with a broken bottle, and stuff like Pennies from Heaven and stuff like that was just obviously too grown up for the young Greg in the kind of mid to late 80s. But I've always really, really liked Bob Hoskins, and I've obviously gone back and watched films like The Long Good Friday and Mona Lisa and the one with Mickey Rourke, A Prayer for the Dying and stuff. And I mean, A Prayer for the Dying's not a brilliant film, but Hoskins is really good in it. You know what I mean? It becomes a bit sort of schmaltzy and sentimental toward the end, but Hoskins is brilliant in it. And I was really sad when he had to retire, maybe 11 years ago, because he had Parkinson's disease. I think he had, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, Parkinson's. Retired 2012 and died like 2 years later. It was pneumonia that killed him, though, I think. But
it's a real shame.
I'm the same as you. I think, it would have been Who Framed Roger Rabbit was my first kind of time I saw Hoskins. Then I think it would have been Mermaids.
Yeah.
Then Hook.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Super Mario Brothers.
I've never seen it.
Have you never seen Super Mario Brothers?
No.
It's, something, I kind of might rewatch it because I remember it being absolute shit, but I bet it's kind of quite, I don't know. Oh, come on. It's Hoskins. It's Dennis Hopper. It's
John Leguizamo.
John Leguizamo.
Leguizamo.
Like, it's...
Well, when I was reading about Hoskins for the podcast, apparently he didn't, when he was making the film Super Mario Brothers, he didn't realise it was based on a computer game until his son told him. And he said that between takes, him and John Leguizamo just got pissed. They just drank because there was so much. Apparently, I think the production was a bit shambolic and chaotic, and they had a lot of downtime and just got smashed.
I mean, actually, I'm looking up Super Mario Bros. It's fucking insane, the cast, actually. I'm going to rewatch this. It's Bob Hoskins, Leguizamo, Hopper, Samantha Mathis, Fisher Stevens, Fiona Shaw. Like, there's some heavyweight actors in this film. Like, I'm rewatching Super Mario Bros.
Samantha Mathis off Game On, or
no, that's Samantha Janice.
Oh, you Buffy the Vampire, the original Buffy the Vampire Slayer. That's Samantha Mathis.
No, that's what's her name? That's not Kirsty Swanson.
Oh yeah,
was Buffy the Vampire
American
Slayer.
Psycho. Broken Arrow, The Punisher, American President, Jack and Sarah. Yeah,
that's where I know her from. Jack and Sarah, I think. No, Pump Up the Volume is where I know Samantha Mathis from. Yeah. Anyway, but Hoskins, great actor, and I've the same as you. I think I genuinely remember the first time I watched Long Good Friday and being fucking blown away by it. It's an incredible film.
It's a great film,
and. Yeah, Hoskins is just was a great actor. So it was great to see him in this as well.
Yeah,
as Bart, and he chews up the scenery. Like, he knows what he's doing in this, and he's fucking brilliant.
He's fair. I mean, apart from Morgan Freeman, and no offense to Jet Li, but in every scene, Bob Hoskins is the most accomplished actor. Every scene that he's in, no matter who he's acting with, he's the most accomplished actor. Of the production.
Why do you think Danny keeps cop blocking him? Because twice he's about to get his end away and Danny appears or looks up from the grate. He just keeps cop blocking Uncle Bart. It's like, shame. What I like about this as well, like the fight scenes that we have, like, and I can see why it's called Danny the dog, not just because he's a collar, but when you watch the fight scenes, Danny is like an attack dog.
Yeah.
He goes after one person and other people will try and attack, and he just swats them away and focuses on that one person until he's fucked, and then he'll focus on the next person. And I thought that was a really cool little kind of touch in a way. Like, and I guess that's why they did it, Danny the dog. But I thought that was really well done.
Yeah, I mean, I fucking really, really like a good martial arts film. Like, in a really good fight scene. You know, I'm not ashamed to admit it. I fucking, like, my heart fair races when I see someone like Jet Li or Bruce Lee, or even like Jason Statham, you know, if in films like The Transporter, when it's all very highly kind of choreographed and stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm there for it every time. Every single time. I fucking love it. And like, Jet Li has to be, you know, I mean, I'm not sure. There's a new film coming out with the Indian actor Dev Patel called Monkey Man that I watched the trailer for. And that looks fucking really good as well. But in terms of just like a highly skilled sort of martial artist who's an actor, I'm not sure there's many people at the moment that can come close to Jet Li. Just in terms of in terms of physical ability, you know what I mean?
Do you mean what now? Because I mean, Jet Li's 60 now, but mind you, Jackie Chan's still, you know.
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, I don't think Jet Li's kind of making as visceral movies now as he was making when about this time, and you know, and this was sort of just a kind of few years into his kind of international stardom. You know, I know he'd been a big star in like Japan and China and Hong Kong in the years leading up to this, because I think even in this he's like in his mid-40s. Like, I know he doesn't look like he is, but I think he is. You know, I don't think he's not like a sort of 25, 30-year-old reasonably young actor.
He's 60 now, and this film is, what, 19 years old? No.
Yeah, 19 years old, yeah. He was born in 1963. So when this came out, he was 42. You know?
Okay.
So, yeah, still about the same age as you, a little bit younger than me. But he looks, you know, like in the scenes where he has to sort of portray a kind of childlike, like the scene you mentioned before, when he's trying to figure out how to use the spoon, the scenes when Sam has just kind of taken him in and he's kind of wakes up in his pajamas and he's kind of hiding under the bed and things. He's actually very good. You know, like he sells it really well. Like going from, you know, we've seen this character who has just been essentially a hard as nails attack dog for the first sort of half an hour of the film to the point where he's this sort of chastened, rather timid, frightened young guy who's out his depth and doesn't know where he is and isn't sure, and he's nervous around these people that are trying to help him. You know, he puts in a really, really convincing performance there, Lee. I think.
No, he does. He really does. There's some really good, like, heartfelt scenes. Like, I mean, obviously, so he does strike up a bond with Sam's stepdaughter, Victoria, and some of the scenes they have together are really sweet. You know, when he's picking her up from school and they're eating ice cream together and stuff, and it's quite sweet, and you wonder where this is going.
Yeah.
And I would say the scene that genuinely had the most tension for me, I didn't know what was going to happen, is when she tries to take his collar off. And, well, she does take his collar off.
Yeah.
And he kind of flinches to begin with, and then he lets her take it off. And I'm thinking, like, surely he's not just going to kick the fuck out of her. Like, but I did wonder, like, you know, like, what's going to happen? But thankfully, all's fine. And then he's totally fine after that. He's off to the, you know, tuning pianos with Morgan Freeman. He's off to the spa to buy his little tartan Viking hat and stuff. And he seems fine. So, but yeah, that scene particularly had a lot of tension for me, and I thought it was very well acted.
Yeah, it's really good
by the both of them.
I mean, Kerry Condon. I mean, this is quite early in her career, but you know, like for Jet Li, like a year or two before he'd done, well, actually, quite a few years before he'd done Lethal Weapon 4, where he plays a villain in that, and he's up against Mel Gibson, who's playing Riggs, who's, you know, aware of the fact that he's getting older and he's not quite as spry as we've seen him in the previous 3 Lethal Weapon films and things. And like he's like Jet Li's like fucking, he's proper menacing in that, and they do a good job of, you know, because in all the confrontations between them, he just batters fuck out of Riggs. You know, and Riggs is able to sort of narrowly escape each time or something happens. You know, like, even when, obviously, it's not a spoiler here, but obviously, you know, it's a happy ending in Lethal Weapon 4 and Riggs dispatches him, it's kind of by fluke, you know, like, you know, the filmmaker is Richard Donner, has got the awareness that there's fucking no way that Riggs would be able to, like, Mel Gibson could beat Jet Li in, you know, unless it was, they've got to sell it somehow. He's not just going to suddenly overpower him. It has to be a fluke. But as a villain, Jet Li is fucking, he plays it really, really, really well. You know, and you do get this, he's sort of genuinely frightening as this sort of ruthless assassin. So to see him in this, like, I'm not sure he's ever done anything that's called upon him to kind of be that vulnerable, like to play such a vulnerable character.
I really like the scene when they're in the Fight Club, or is it a bondage club? Because everyone's fucking wearing leather straps.
It's literally like he's like fallen into the set of Mad Max 2. You know?
Yeah. So when he's in they're fighting in the pool, and he's obviously, I did think that was good because he doesn't want to fight anymore.
Yeah.
And Bart's obviously bribing him, I'll buy you a piano, and then just chucks him in the pool.
Yeah.
And I thought it was nice touch, like he's fighting defensively, like he's not striking the guy, it's all defensive until it gets too much, because obviously there's weapons getting thrown in, there's random people, and then he just gets too much and he just kicks the fuck out of everyone. But then there's a woman in there, and he really just fucking punches her in the boob about 6 times. Like, it seemed a strange choice. Like, he's really just keeps hammering her in the boob. And I wondered why he was doing that.
I mean, what I was thinking during that scene is that you got 3 clear martial artists that are in that scene. You know, so probably very much martial artists first, and actors a distant second. But can you imagine how exciting it must have been for those guys to be in a scene with Jet Li. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
You probably, if you were like, you probably didn't mind getting punched in the boob a few times because it was Jet Li that was doing the punching, who she probably looked up to. You know, these are probably the kind of martial artists and stunt people. But yeah, it was so bizarre. Like the first time we see them in that, it's obviously a swimming pool that's been drained, that's been used as like a deathmatch arena, and that first guy that he just punches in the throat a few times until he's dead.
Yeah.
I mean, he's literally wearing the villain from Mad Max 2's outfit.
Yeah. Master Blaster.
Yeah, another Mel Gibson joint, Mad Max 2, funnily enough. It's featuring quite a lot in this episode of the podcast.
What a Mel Gibson in this episode. Fucking hell, it's not even Braveheart. Jesus.
Yes.
Okay, so obviously, famously, there's only one Scottish cast member in this film who speaks with an English accent. If you were to recast, let's say, the four main characters, Bart, Sam, Victoria, and Danny, who would you cast? They have to be Scottish.
Okay, well, Sam, it has to go to Cosmo. I feel like Cosmo would find me if I didn't cast him as Sam. Like Cosmo would find out where I lived when he saw this came out, and if he hadn't, he'd probably have sacked his agent. So I think it has to be Cosmo as Sam. Then as Danny, I don't know, who's a youngish actor who looks like it could be quite handy. I was going to say your man from Outlander, but I don't know if it doesn't really suit him. I think he's too tall. You need somebody who's, I think Jet Li's quite wee, you know, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
Like 5'7", 5'8", something like that. So you need somebody sort of, you know, small but sort of hard looking. Maybe Richard Madden. I think Madden could sell it. He's too good looking.
Yeah, no, it could work. Yeah, I suppose.
Madden maybe sell it.
Could work.
And then as Victoria, do you know who I would have as Victoria? And I know that I think she's kind of retired from acting now. I would have Jade Johnson from what was it? Field of Blood. Is it Field of Blood? It was called?
She was on my shortlist because I was looking at actresses that would have been around about 18 to 20 in 2005. So she was on my shortlist for the role of Victoria.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'd have her. I liked her in Field of Bloods. We're following her on Instagram on her Swally account, and I saw that she was back in Scotland last week, the week before, visiting family, because she was in Canada now.
We still need to do series 2 of that, actually.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do.
I think that's the second time we've mentioned that we still need to do series 2 of that, so we'll get round to it. Okay, and then Bart. Who would you cast as Bart?
Bart. I think Connolly's too old now to bring him back. Probably a wee bit too fucked as well.
Yeah, but we can go like 2005. It's fine. Like that's where I've kind of gone. I think.
Well,
although actually no, maybe not.
The thing is with Connolly, obviously, I love Billy Connolly, but you know, like we've had him playing. I guess the most generous way to describe the character would be a bit of an anti-hero in The Debt Collector, and you know, I don't know. It was difficult for me to sort of see Connolly as a baddie like Bart, because you know my relationship with Connolly is him making me think I'm going to fucking literally piss myself as a young teenager watching stuff like Billy and Albert, Billy Connolly Live, the pick of Billy Connolly and stuff, where he just had that ability to fucking really reduce me, and I'm sure millions of other people, to a fucking puddle on the floor with laughter. I know that round about that time he was, you know, he had done Mrs. Brown, and he had got a lot of good notices for his part in that, and it, you know, he'd been acting for years anyway, but that was like a high profile thing, and obviously with Judi Dench in the film won a lot of awards and stuff. But it's difficult for me to imagine Connolly as a baddie like that. Like Brian Cox as a kind of ruthless, kind of Bart type character, as much as, and the irony is that, and I guess it's just testament to what a fucking great actor he is, but somebody else who could have me in fucking fits of laughter as Bob Servant, and but I buy him as a ruthless loan shark. He could sell that to me in a way that I'm not sure Connolly could. So I think I'd probably go with Brian Cox for it. You know? Okay. What about you?
I'll go with that.
What's your thoughts?
I've kind of gone all over the place in terms of timelines and ages. So this film would have to be a kind of reimagining of, I don't know when it's going to be set, because some of the actors I've picked are from different eras in terms of timelines. But for the role of Sam, I thought John Hannah would be quite a good pick for that.
Yeah. Although, you know, like, fucking Cosmo will be fucking kicking your door in.
I know, but you cast him, so it's fine. Okay, so it's okay. You can be upset with me. I thought for Victoria, his stepdaughter, Rose Leslie would kind of be a good pick. Affleck in terms of, she was about the right age at the time, but John Hannah maybe a little bit, 2005, probably a bit too young, but Maybe. Another actor who probably would have been too young at the time but would be good now for Bart would be Dougray Scott.
Yeah. He likes a chance to fucking really go for it. I was watching him in Mission Impossible 2 a few weeks ago, and, he likes his opportunity to, give it loudy, as they say.
And for Danny the Dog, there's only one choice, and I cannot believe he wasn't in this film anyway.
Right.
Rab Affleck. Why wasn't Rab Affleck in this film? He's fucking perfectly suited to be one of the heavies or one of the fucking guys fighting in the pool. Like, where's Rab Affleck? This film needs Affleck. Every film needs Rab Affleck. Where's Rab Affleck?
There seems to have been a bit of a sort of Scottish actor embargo for this film, because,
there certainly has been.
I can't believe they didn't hire any fucking Scottish actors for anything, it seems, in the whole film, but...
Yeah.
But yeah, big Rab just battering guys in S&M gear in a swimming pool. I would go and see that.
So, my other couple of problems with the film. So Sam married his best mate's wife after he died.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's a bit tough, isn't it? Like, you don't do that, surely.
I mean, I guess the question that goes unanswered is how long did he wait before he made his move?
Yeah, we don't know. Because he died before Victoria was born. Yeah. But then he says that the wife died and he got blinded in the car accident when she was 6. Yeah. So you've got a 6-year gap there.
Which apparently the character being blind was a Morgan Freeman device.
It was,
so
yes.
So he could better see the sort of repressed child in Jet Li's character. It doesn't...
Next query I have is... at one point, obviously, Danny's been living with them for a while, and Sam breaks it to him that obviously once Victoria graduates, they're going to move back to the States, and they'd like him to come with them. And he says, yes. How the fuck are they getting this Chinese immigrant into the States? Like, he doesn't have a passport.
Yeah, and
they don't have...
post 9/11 as well? No chance.
Yes, exactly. Not a chance he's getting into the States. So I don't know how they thought they were going to do that.
I mean, just going back to your first point. So we see pictures of the man who is supposedly Victoria's late father. Now, the pictures of that guy, it doesn't look like somebody whose best mate would be a sort of older African-American musician and piano tuner. To me, he looks like the sort of guy who likes to wear espadrilles. He likes to maybe not wear socks. He likes to go out in the boat, maybe a few lines of cocaine at the weekend.
So you're saying he's Don Johnson from Miami Vice?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Crockett and Tubbs worked
they were like the same age, and like Morgan Freeman's got a sort of quality. It might be because I think stardom and international fame and acclaim came like quite late in Morgan Freeman's life. I think so. He was maybe like in his 50s when he was in like Robin Hood and what was the one, Driving Miss Daisy, and then later on Shawshank and stuff like that. So he's always going to be like an older fellow in my eyes. I've never seen a young Morgan Freeman in anything, although I know that he has had some parts in films that I've not seen when he was young, small parts. So I don't buy this really, really close friendship. He explains that he was a sort of aspiring musician, but he wasn't really good enough, so he settled for being a piano tuner. So how did he end up being best mates with Victoria's dad as a piano tuner? I mean, his dad looks like he might have been in Hall & Oates or something like that, so maybe that's how they became friends. Maybe he tuned Victoria's dad's piano and they just hit it off.
Who knows? We're not to judge. Like, people make friends. It's fine. Like, that's at least how it works. What was my third? I had a third problem with it. Oh, yeah, right. There's a fourth one. I was going to say Phil Collins, but how does Bob Hoskins survive so many car crashes? Because it's like fucking 3 car crashes he gets involved in, effectively. Well, 2 crashes, and then what's he called? It's not the visitor, it's not the tourist, the stranger lands on his car after that fight scene. So it's like 3 car wrecks he gets into, but he survives them all. Like, that's quite unlucky.
Yeah,
for Hoskins.
It is. I mean, that whole character character I had a bit of an issue with because he's basically... That guy's basically David Carradine of Kung Fu, right?
Yes,
Turns up.
yes. Yes, I thought the same.
What the fuck is Kung Fu doing hanging about Glasgow? How has Bob Hoskins just got the nut? You know, he's got Danny that he's been using to like sort out his various issues over the years, but he's got Kung Fu up his sleeve, who is clearly housebroken, and he's able to get him in to sort Danny out. But I have to say that is probably the best fight scene in the whole film. I think that is.
Yeah, it's great. It's epic. Yeah, but which leads to my other gripe and question: like, where are the police in this film? Like, there's a lot of car crashes, there's a lot of action. That woman in the shower is definitely calling the cops.
They're too busy arresting guys dressed up as stormtroopers getting onto trains in Aberdeen.
Evidently. And chasing forklift truck drivers. But yeah, that woman in the shower is definitely calling the cops. But still the fight scene goes on for like another 10, 15 minutes. Like, surely the cops would be there by that point.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, that was that's my last kind of gripe about Unleashed in terms of the film.
I feel compelled to give the guy who plays the stranger a bit of a mention. So his name's Mike Lambert, and he's a stuntman. Like, Unleashed is one of the few roles where he actually plays a character, or films where he actually plays a character. But I mean, he's been in like massive things, like most recently The Flash, Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, Zack Snyder's Justice League, the Assassin's Creed film, The Man from U.N.C.L.E. I mean, he's been like grinding out a really successful career for years. Even done like Game of Thrones, a lot of Marvel films as well. Captain America. It was what's his name? What's the actor called who plays Captain America again? It was his stunt double.
Chris Evans.
It was Chris Evans' stunt double in the first.
Not the ginger one, obviously.
It's Chris Evans' stunt double in the first Captain America film, and he's great in this, you know. And like the one thing that I really liked about the film and that sequence in particular is the fight in the close. I know it's not with the stranger. It's with just some like hoodlums. But yeah, how great is it to see somebody like doing martial arts in a typical traditional Glasgow close? It's fucking brilliant.
So a martial arts film set in Glasgow, starring Jet Li, Bob Hoskins, and Morgan Freeman, and a soundtrack by Massive Attack and the RZA. I mean, that's a like, you couldn't make that up. Like, it's bizarre.
You definitely couldn't. And it's all the things that I was very, very, very engaged with at the time. And we're still quite engaged with now, albeit to a lesser extent. The promise for this film, for me personally, when it came out, was just immense. And it's, I guess, the storyline in its broadest sense is a little bit sort of traditional, sort of 80s action filmish. You know, it reminds me a little bit of the storyline for AWOL. You know, the Van Damme film.
I thought exactly the same, and that is. Genuinely, that was probably one of my favourite Van Damme films. I know it gets criticised a lot and people think it's shit, but I fucking love it.
Who thinks that AWOL is shit? Who the fuck?
I've read a lot of online criticism about AWOL, yeah, but I fucking love it.
It's a great film.
I think it's got a different name.
The Legionnaire.
It's called Lionheart.
Oh yeah, Lionheart, yeah. I think it's sometimes called The Legionnaire as well, maybe in Europe, maybe something like that. It's a fucking brilliant film, AWOL. But you know, there's sort of shades of that story in this in Unleashed. One of the things about the film that really annoyed me, and it's nothing to do with the plot or Jet Li or anything, but when they go to the best supermarket in Glasgow and Sam's like fingering the bread, you know what I mean, and fucking
he's blind. How's he supposed to?
It doesn't matter. He's picking up like loose bread rolls, squeezing it. And the worst thing is, he fucking puts it back. I didn't buy it. If I was working that shop, I would be full raging, blind or not, if somebody was coming in and doing that. That's fucking disgusting. And the other thing is, when did the Spar start selling strings of sausages? Who's buying sausages by the string in the 21st century? It's not the fucking Beano. You know? It's the sort of thing you expect to see Nasher running away with in his mouth with an angry butcher chasing after him.
It's a very good point, actually, yeah.
I have to say, like, I think Sam's cooking looked pretty overrated to me. I think Victoria was just being polite because he was blind. I could see why she took Danny for ice cream on the way home, because she knew that the dinner would be rubbish.
Yeah, but you could smell that vanilla ice cream in her breath. That was the one time you saw Sam. He was fucking royally pissed off that they were late, and he was a bit of a cunt. Like he seemed like such a nice guy, but he was really fucking annoyed, like that they were late. And you could tell Victoria was a bit like scared. So I wonder if she should have been phoning Childline at some point if there'd been some abuse going on.
What is so dangerous about Glasgow that she would have to be going? Like somebody'd have to go and meet her after school when she's like 17 years old.
Exactly, she's fucking 17. Like, come on.
I was getting the train into Glasgow when I was like 12 on my own. My mates.
Dunno, overprotective, I guess. But then I guess, her dad died, her mum died, he got blinded. You can kind of see that he's maybe a little bit overprotective.
I mean,
but yeah, he'll take a little Chinese boy that knows kung fu and stay in the house.
Take him home, introduce him to his daughter.
Yeah, it's fine. He won't rape my stepdaughter. It's fine. Not that I'm saying Jet Li would, but you know what I mean. Like that's the kind of anyway. It doesn't matter.
Hi.
You're late.
It was so nice out. We decided to walk the long way.
Oh, you just... Didn't I say bring her straight home?
Sam, it was me, not him.
Oh, it was... If you wanted to take the long way home, Victoria, you could have gone to that school in Kansas. Then you could have taken the long way home for 50 miles and I wouldn't care.
50 miles of corn.
Corn is safe.
Corn is boring, and anyway, this was the better school.
Which is why we're here and not with the corn, right? So do me a favor, huh? Don't make me worry.
Okay, Sam.
What is that?
What?
Smells like ice cream. Vanilla ice cream.
Vanilla is white. First it's cold, then it's sweet. Sweet is good.
So I was thinking about this today. So Morgan Freeman is, if you were to divide up the amount of time everyone's on screen, he's not the most featured actor in this. And I was just wondering, has he agreed to do this film just so he could have a wee holiday in Scotland, maybe?
Probably, yeah.
Because his stock would have been, he'd have been like an A-lister at this point in Hollywood, right?
Yeah, 2005, yeah, he would have been, yeah. But yeah, he would have been doing... Yeah,
10 years
would have been like on the back of like the Sum of All Fears of Ben Affleck and stuff, like kind of.
So it's kind of 10 years after Seven, right? So he's done the Shawshank Redemption, which, although it was critically well received, it wasn't like a massive box office smash. Then he did Seven, which was hugely fucking successful film, and then he just after Seven, he just seemed to be an A-lister to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So again, it was a kick at the time to see him sort of wandering about Glasgow, going into like a shop on Bath Street and coming out of the Kelvin Grove and all that kind of thing was quite cool.
Nipping into Superdrug to get his bits.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So yeah, I just wondered, has he done this for a bit of buns? And
might have just been that he wanted to work with Jet Li.
Yeah, maybe. Bob Hoskins.
Because say Jet Li's stock would have been the rise. Yeah, have a couple of months in Glasgow, work with Jet Li, work with Bob Hoskins. Yeah. Perfect. Although, does he have any scenes with Bob Hoskins?
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't have any scenes. Oh, no, he does. So, there's a scene at the end where he fucking panels him and tells him to shut the hell up.
Yeah, with a flower pot. That man could talk some serious shit.
So there's another moment in this that just made me think this was such a staple of sort of mid to late 90s and early 2000 films, and it's the scene toward the end when everyone's chasing Danny through the tenement and Lefty appears and he's got the John Woo like sort of automatic gun in each hand. Sideways. Yeah. I mean it just seemed to be, I think sort of after, I think when sort of Hard Boiled became so internationally successful, and obviously there's a scene in Reservoir Dogs I think it's Harvey Keitel, shoots the police car with two guns. After that, it just seemed like every action film, somebody had to have like two handguns, doing, sideways preferably, or vertically if not. It just seemed to be a real staple from that time,
Speaking of which, I downloaded, and I can't wait to watch it again, but I'll maybe this weekend I might watch it. I downloaded The Killer, which I haven't seen for ages. I used to have it on DVD and I must have sold it, but downloaded that. Can't wait to watch that again. I fucking love that film.
Mickey Mouse and Dumbo.
That's probably one of my favourite. I think I'd rate that over Hard Boiled, actually.
Would you?
Although, I don't know. You know what? I haven't watched them for so long. I'm going to watch them both, and I'll let you know next time. Probably not next time, because
The next time I've got a bit of time at home with no family, which hopefully is fucking pretty soon. I might do just a few days so I can please myself. It'd be good to do a sort of John Woo kind of, not marathon, not like one after the other, but maybe over a couple of days. And I would do like A Better Tomorrow, 1 and 2, Bullet in the Head, The Killer, Hard Boiled, then maybe Face Off, just for an American one.
Yeah. Mission Impossible 2.
Maybe Mission Impossible. Well, I watched that recently. But he's sort of unfettered in all the other films. He's obviously got to stick to the formula somewhat in Mission Impossible 2, but the other films he's sort of unfettered to unleash his signature style.
His signature style. Broken Arrow. Would you include that?
I quite like Broken Arrow. I mean, it's not his best one, but it's pretty good. He gets a reasonably good kind of baddie turn out of Travolta for the first time before he does Face Off.
I watched his first Hollywood film again quite recently, actually.
What was that called again? I can still tip my tongue.
Hard Target.
Hard Target. I fucking love Hard Target.
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Why don't you...
Who again has popped up
Why don't
twice on this episode.
Why don't you take your big stick and your boyfriend and go find a bus to catch? Our mutual friend and I have a shared appreciation for Hard Target, so we do.
Well, we look forward to finding out about your John Woo marathon in a future episode of the Swally. Okay, anything else on Unleashed, or should we put it through the Swally Awards?
Well, I think as we've just spent the last 10 minutes talking about John Woo films, I think we've probably done Unleashed to death. So let's move on to the Swally Awards. So the first award is the Bobby the Barman Award for the best pub. But I was thinking back today, I don't think there's any pub scenes, is there? There's a moment.
There's no. Hoskins mentions he wants a pint, but then they cut to the antique shop, so we don't see him having a pint. But he does mention it, but we don't see it. So no, there's no pub in this film.
No. And then the next award, as we've discussed at length, we can't really award, but the James Cosmo Award for being in everything Scottish. I'm not even sure Emma Thompson's ma could get that award just by virtue of the fact that she's the only Scottish actor in the film, because she's not in everything Scottish.
I combed through her IMDb. And she is in one episode of Sutherland's Law.
Right.
She's in one episode of Taggart, one episode of Hamish Macbeth, and one episode of Monarch of the Glen.
Right.
4 quite Scottish things, but that's it. Everything else is English.
We'll let her have it then, shall we?
Yeah, well, but she's the only option.
Did you know Emma Thompson's dad produced the Magic Roundabout? We mentioned this before.
Yes,
we mentioned that on the Barney Stingray podcast. Maybe we did.
Yeah, I think we did in the Barney Thompson. Yeah, we did.
So then the next award, then there's lots of choices for, just by the very nature of the film, and it's the Jake McQuillan Your Teazoot Award. So you had a lot of things to pick from here, Nicky. What did you go for?
I went with Sam smashing the flower pot over Bart's head.
Yep, that's a good one. I went with Bart shooting the guy to death because Danny won't kill him in the second swimming baths fight. Next one then, the Ewan McGregor Award for gratuitous nudity. So while there is a bit of nudity in the film, it's not gratuitous as such, but I went with the lady in Bart's aborted knee trembler on his desk, like the first time that Danny accidentally cockblocks him.
Well, because it's 2, because the first time her nipple slips out, and then the second time, the boobs are on full show. I actually went with the woman in the shower, because although you don't see it, it's hidden by the shower curtain.
Yeah.
I'm like, is there a need for that? But so I kind of went with that.
think either of those three are good choices. Next one then. So ironically, despite the fact that there's no Scottish actors in the film, there's still quite a lot of like archetypal Scottish moments.
What did you go for this?
So there's three I've written here. I've written Piss and Rain, Fight in a Close, and Fight in the Spar.
Fight in the Spar.
What did you go for?
I went with the See You Jimmy hat.
Yes.
That Daddy tries on, but he doesn't buy. He buys the tartan Viking hat, but he does try on a See You Jimmy hat. So, yeah, I went
Who was
with
he buying that hat for? I mean, come on, like your first ever paycheck and he runs out to buy fucking a daft hat.
I think he was buying it to make Victoria laugh because he was trying to get his home.
Okay. Everyone knows that the way to a lady's heart is a silly hat.
Oh, it's by making her laugh. But yeah, I think that, I think that's why he was trying to do it.
Okay. And then our final award then is the Big Tam Award. Who wins the film for you?
Hoskins with that time.
Really? See, I felt that this sort of thing is sort of Hoskins' bread and butter. Could do this with his eyes shut. You know what I mean? Like, and there's it sort of evokes a wee bit of his Harold.
Morgan Freeman did it with his eyes shut.
Exactly. But, you know, for all the reasons I mentioned before, I gave it to Jet Li because, you know, the sort of second act of the film, you know, if you've turned up to see a Jet Li action film, it does slow down a wee bit when he moves in with Sam and Victoria, and there's all the scenes with the piano and hiding under the bed and eating the soup and the ice cream and everything. And he's I don't think Jet Li's ever going to win an Oscar, but you know, compared to the stuff that we'd seen him do before, I think he does a good job, I think. So I felt, and I really enjoyed the scenes when he was knocking fuck out of people as well. So I gave it to Jet Li.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. No, I can understand that. I will take that. Yeah.
Yep. So if you want to watch Unleashed, you will find it. It's around. I think it's on iTunes. I think you'll probably get it off Amazon as well. There are other less honest means of seeing it, which we won't discuss here. But it's definitely worth a viewing. But this was my choice. Again, just to give a shout out to Ali from Scots Way Hay for the suggestion. For this week's episode of the pod, which means that the bottle spins back to you. So what are we watching for the next episode?
Well, Greg, the next episode, can you believe, is going to be episode 99 of the Culture Swally. Can you believe we made it that long? Like, did you think we'd make it to 99 episodes?
Do you know what? Like, when we first started, I wasn't sure we would, because we were sort of feeling our way through this new world of podcasting. But I'm super proud that we'll be celebrating our 100th episode in a few weeks' time.
Yeah, I feel exactly the same. I kind of wondered, and then as soon as we settled in, I was like, no, I fucking love doing this. So I kind of, I never doubted after the first few that we would reach this. So I've picked the next film, partly because of the title of the film, but also because I thought it was quite fitting for episode 99, but also because I wanted to discuss this film with you as well, because I watched it a few weeks ago, and I've been meaning to pick it for a while. But it is written by, directed by, and starring someone who has never appeared on the Culture Swally before, Greg, but I know that we are both big fans of. That's a bit of a riddle for you, isn't it? So I've picked the 2000... Oh, were you about to take a guess there?
I was going to say, is it The Undertaker?
No, it's not The Undertaker, no. But she's just as tall as The Undertaker, I think. She's fucking massive. She's not really, but she is massive. I picked the 2018 film written by, directed by, and starring Karen Gillan, and it's called The Party's Just Beginning.
That's funny. I almost picked a story for the news this week where Karen Gillan was talking about having a party at her parents' house when they were on holiday and it getting absolutely trashed. That's ironic, isn't it?
There you go. Wow.
Brilliant.
Maybe you can save it for the next episode then.
Maybe I will.
That'd be quite fitting. But yeah, The Party's Just Beginning. I think it's available in places. I don't know. I watched it in
a legal place.
I'll
Legal.
tell you. I'll tell you once we're off air, and I'll tell you where you can find it. Okay, so thank you very much for listening, everyone. Hope you enjoyed the show. The party's just beginning. We'll be in the next episode of the Culture Swally. If you want to get in touch with us, you can. You can email us on cultureswally@gmail.com. You can follow us on Insta at cultureswallypod, or you can follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter, Swally Pod. And we have a wonderful website as well, don't we, Greg?
Yep, you can find us at cultureswally.com with links to all their social medias and some articles about the Crankies, Sean Connery, horror and Scottish horror films, and all bunch of other things. So come and visit us there.
Wonderful. Okay, right. Well, Eid Mubarak, Greg. I mean, obviously it'll be long over by the time this episode comes out, because it'll be coming out in, well, not that long, actually. 9 days. Probably one of the closest we've recorded before it comes out. But we had a busy weekend, so we couldn't record at the weekend. But have a lovely time.
We didn't all have a busy weekend, but, you know, some of us did.
Sorry, I had a busy weekend. Sorry. Yeah, that's fine. And yeah, I will. I'll
speak to you soon.
Have fun. Yeah, I'll speak to you soon. Until next time.
Did you ever see the one with Jet Li in it that's set in Glasgow with Morgan Freeman and Bob Hoskins?
Yeah, it's called Unbreakable.
That's got to be.
Yeah, or something. Dog or something. I think it's got two different names. That was another one. I was working in the restaurant, and Morgan Freeman came in. My God, what's he doing in Glasgow? But that's what he was doing. He was doing that weird Jet Li film. It's better than.
It's really good.
Yeah.
It's not a sentence you expect to hear. I was working in a restaurant and Morgan Freeman came in Glasgow because he was working on a Jet Li film.
I know.
Set in the West End.